should be recording. Yep, I see the file. Yay! So continuing in Far Cry 3. Button. Still running it in window, just in case. Since that was only last week. Alright. And what is it up to? So day's already been busy and I'm tired. No, actually, I'm gonna head up this way and then come down ultimately for the radio tower. Yeah, I know it's kind of boring to keep doing what I have been doing, which is clearing the map, but it's valuable. That way the line is a bit more natural. Gore. It's right here, why not? Actually do need to be careful because I don't want to run into Komodo dragons. They're mean. Alright, so what all do I have on the list? There we go. Some interesting stuff. Like one thing that I actually did say it in the Friday write-up, which I actually put up before because I'm getting to it so late today because I had things this morning. Oh, we grab more of the goon. But it's like, yeah, some are joking, I'm on that list, that it might be a sign of the end times. But GIMP has finally had its port over to GTK 3. So GIMP, it's an open source image editor, so competitor to Photoshop. Come on, I don't care about the server. I'm not sure why getting that music. Anyway, but it has been on its second major version 2, for a very long time. Which means it's been using GTK 2 for a very long time. And that's the GNOME toolkit, I think. Some people say GNOME. I say GNOME. But basically, GNOME is one of the UI systems in Linux, and GTK, whatever version, is a thing that helps with building UIs and such, applications like that. Well, applications that need a UI. Oop.
Ew.
But version going from 2 to 3 was a very big change, which is why it's been taking so freaking long. There. Well, we might as well take the skin. But it's literally been years that this has been a thing, to the point that I added for context into the thing. The GTK 3, the last version of that is actually from 2018. Current version is 4 point something. What was it, 4.10? And it's like GTK 5 is being talked about. So chances are that we won't actually see a GTK 4 port of GIMP. It'll just go straight to 5. But it's just one of those jokes where it's like, oh, we might actually get GIMP 3. This is like sign of the apocalypse. Like a Bethesda game launching without critical bugs. Or Half-Life 3 launching. I am on the wrong side of the river. Oh, no. Sorry. Not. Okay. But it still is. That is major news. At least if you're somebody like me who has... I've been using GIMP for years, so it's great to see this this progress occurring. Or if you just don't want to be locked into Photoshop. There we go. It's kind of nice when the AI does what you want it to do. And by that I do mean the fact that I shot the one behind him so he turned away from me to look. As opposed to being like, oh, there's an enemy, he's right there. Yeah. Sergeant York. If you ever watch that movie or read the book it's based on. How to shoot turkey. Shoot the one in the rear, because that way the ones ahead don't know. And so you can get all of them. Whereas if you shoot the one in the front, then they all know and scatter, so you can't get them all. Same kind of thing can happen with people, depending on the situation. Like if I had shot the guy in front, the second guy would have immediately been able to react. So there was a reaction there, which got the third one to run away, but this guy didn't know to do anything. So yeah, don't know when GIMP 3 is coming, but certainly is. Another thing concerning updates. Opus 1.4. Oh. Now I didn't understand all of the patch notes for 1.4 of Opus. That's an audio codec that I rather like for various things. It's very good at preserving detail, even at low bitrate. And it's also very fast at it coding too. But it is
disgusting.
the version I've been using is 1.31. It looks like, based on the changelog I was seeing, 1.4 is largely starting at lower bit rates. so because my interest is mainly with music stuff, where I do let it be, or movie audio, which I do let be at higher bit rates. It's not. Okay. It's up here I want to get. Not just so I'm looking down. I saw a path I can take over to the siren. There. I knew there had to be more. Did not know. What do you think's in there? There we go. Nope. Got him. And it's not everything. I have no idea what the actual trigger was there, but... Oh. So wait, is this only burst fire? I will check in just a moment. If it's only burst fire, I'll get the other one. Yeah, that is only burst fire. Not what I want to be using.
Good work, but there's still more to do here. Check out the bulletin board.
We will be safe again.
Hello, brother.
Another couple update things. They have a lot of update things. Cult of the Lamb, which I did enjoy. That is getting an update next week, I think it is, the 24th. This update, Relics of the Old Faith, which is actually going to add in some relics, but also post-game stuff in general. So it's actually, ooh, I can't pick any of that up.
Place of pirates, Citra promised.
But yeah, so like you'll be able to redo something. Well, redo campaign. Only one. Okay. I can't pick up the.
We will clean this place of pirates, Citra promised.
Did I miss something there? I don't think there was something up top. I'll check. So that. But yeah, so what did it say? It's like you meet a new stranger who puts you on these missions where basically you're gonna be going back to the it must be inside. It's like right here, standing. I didn't see it. You'll get to redo the Crusades, they're called. The four, yep, right. The 4 different paths to the what were they? The bishops? I think they were. It's been a while since I played the game, and amusingly, I actually like just uninstalled the game 1 or 2 weeks, and now it's there's a free update to it, and it's a free. That looks like I probably want to spend some more time on it. And also various additions, not just the Crusade stuff, but also some additions to the to your cult. So like a kitchen, so that you're not the only one that has to pick food. That's in there. Sleeping quarters that can actually share. I think it said it can have 3 followers in there, which would help with the density of followers. I just have like one side of my cult that was just for sleeping. They also had something to help with managing the dead bodies. So I just got a little paranoid about if it crashes on me. Yeah, so there's that stuff. And then Dying Light 2 this week got an update, the gut feeling update, which apparently I've had that uninstalled for longer. But it's going to change up the shit. It's going to change up the some of the evisceration and dismemberment to have it be more graphic and such, which some people are going to be happy about. I'm not sure how much I care necessarily.
I will show you how a true warrior fights.
I mean, if they're already engaged.
I will show you how a true warrior fights.
Awesome. That was super convenient. Yeah, it's that stuff, but it's also, they were saying, a lot of community requests, like a gear transmog, so that way you can have like one item that has really good stats look like another item that you like look up better. There's also tweaks for a new system for crafting, which I'm a little curious what all they mean by that.
Careful! Stop!
Let's go inside. Because stuff is loading. Gotta avoid some of that. Oh. That done. Now head there. Save again. So. Trying to remember what else. Crafting, transmog. There was something more. It's not coming to mind. What else was there? To just talk about in general. Okay, yeah, it looks like it is only the one thing. I was going out of order, so it took me a while to read through it all. And two things that are definitely neat. Unfortunately, I do not know when I might do anything about it. But Tesla Grad 2 had been announced before, and this week they released it. They just, okay, and it's available now. But not only that, with Tesla Grad 2, which is, my understanding is, as far as the story goes, is a direct sequel to Tesla Grad. But it's a different character, your abilities are different, stuff like that. But if you really like that first game, or if you never played it before, which is my situation, they also announced and launched Tesla Grad Remaster. So yeah, and I actually did get keys, but I'm for both. And it's I actually would like to, because they do look like they'd be fun games to do, and maybe small and quick enough that I could do them quickly. But it's just I do have another project I'm trying to focus on at the moment. So yeah, things are a little bit slow because I think going through other things is a bit slow at the moment. And I'm not sure if that would, I'm saying a high profile game, yes, I will stop working on the current project to work on reviewing that. But that would be like a Dead Island 2, which I did not get a key for. I probably could have put in a request for one. But I was not provided a key. I didn't think to ask. I honestly didn't even remember it was coming out around now. I've been focused on other things. Sorry. But like that, yeah. I don't think I have any well, I still get emails, but I don't think I have an actual PR contact for making requests and such with EA, but the Jedi Fallen Order sequel was at Survivor, I think. Saying that that one's coming out soon, I believe. Unfortunately, the one thing that is complicated is some of these games that are coming. They are starting to push up minimum specifications. There we go. Which, I'm still rocking the RX 580 in the desktop, and it'll probably be able to still handle playing these games just fine. But I am growing concerned that we're in a period of time when some studios are caring less about, and I do think it goes back and forth, it undulates up and down. But I do think we're in a time when we might be having fewer studios bothering with doing the involved optimizations in order to get like everybody running well, not just the latest generation that can brute force through anything. I'm not entirely sure why I feel that, except that we've been enjoying a period of a lot of places bothering to be to put that time in, and just like it's got to swing back that kind of. But it is also new technologies like Unreal Engine 5 is still new enough that people would still be learning what the optimization methods are for that. And more places are gonna pick that up. Like, yeah, I know I talked about that. Satisfactory is going to Unreal Engine 5 with its next major update. But some of that is going to increase minimum specifications. So it's like, when that happens, be a little bit more of a pressing issue, but then that's not going to go to their stable branch for a while. So I'm not too concerned there, because I just don't need to try it. Until then. Yeah, let's head down here and then west. Way. Oh, again, I should have used it. I can't. Everything's unlocked. Which means I need to do, I think it's specifically the trial. Oh, nice. nice to have that stuff unlocked. I legitimately don't think I need it. Like, I think I can leave these guys alone. Oh. But yeah, I guess one way to put it is it might be we're at that stage in console lifecycle when they're starting to inflate what can be done because, hey, the consoles allow it. But then we'll get back to where it's like, okay, we're still concerned about what the previous generation consoles, so we have to actually optimize, do a good job with this. It can't just be, messy. Well, yeah, that is my point. It can't just be, it works, and leave it at that. I'm just mentioning that. Because also, we've already seen some of that happen with the whole VRAM stuff, with The Last of Us.
You can do this. Hey! I'm gonna call you up.
There we go. And this is full auto. Can I do? Can I actually heal? I wasn't just gonna get the second thing. I have no idea where that arrow. Oh, right there. That was convenient. But yeah, with the VRAM thing, where it's like, oh yeah, here's an update to The Last of Us. After everyone was talking about how, oh yeah, the VRAM of these GPUs, it really isn't enough. 8 gig isn't acceptable anymore. It has to be 16 gig. Oh yeah, here's an update that we cut the VRAM usage down by 1 gig. Oh. I can see it for 4K needing to go above 8 gig. I can see it for 1440p, but there's no reason for 10 more than 8 gig. There really isn't. I mean, you can talk about how, oh, but these assets are getting so much more detailed, so much larger. How can you fit them all in there? We have that technology. That technology has existed for so long to manage that. It's like, they just need to use it. This two guys. But yeah, I mean, legit. Some of this technology that's been around. But it is also, that is one thing that does get very interesting, is to see how some technology they are missed. Like, for whatever reason, people just don't know about them, so they don't use them. I mean, in some cases it is no, we actually can't use that technology. Whatever we're doing doesn't support it. But there is also an element of not being aware of it. I haven't seen, by the way, that there's been a new update or anything for The Witcher 3. This is even more dangerous.
Oh my God! Ah!
So long as they don't detect, they shouldn't actually pull the alarm.
Whose body is that? Alright, you want to be playing hide and seek? Whose body? Son of a bitch!
The hell? How did he know?
Where's that sniper?
There we go.
Got gonna cut you down!
Okay, this makes no sense. There was no way they could have seen me, but they were.
We're coming in on both sides!
Oops. I don't want to stand. Holy crap, there's a lot of guys with it.
Stop me, motherfucker! Stop me! Aha! You're into the world of son of a bitch!
There we go. Yeah, I don't know how long it'll be before things trend back, but one thing that may help is that a lot of technologies in DirectX 12 and such are actually like performance improving one, not just visual fidelity. So it's like, yes, ray tracing gets a lot of focus, but the reality is also you have like mesh shaders, which can also improve quality, yes, but can also tremendously improve performance if you implement them, if you use them correctly. So yeah, variable rate shading would be another. Sampler feedback, which actually sampler feedback is something that is one of those, it's a newer technology now, but that can be used to improve texture and asset streaming in general, such that you don't need as much VRAM. So it's like those do exist, and maybe we'll see them actually used, but I could also see it being one of those, I don't say this to be offensive, but at the same time it's like, why don't you use this stuff? But some people, they're lazy. Some developers will be lazy and not take advantage of technologies that they could. I'm just thinking the MP5 might actually be better, especially because I can do this. I don't need the sound suppressor. Although it's the same. I think that might be a little bit. Well, no, it actually is. But that's fine. I don't, having at least one already spec'd out weapon in heat is not a bad. And knows it does still show the attachment. there aren't enough MP5s that are used. Well, not MP5 specifically, but SMG. So ammo will be harder. I just wanted to check what the time
I heard my family's okay.
on the recording, so I can. Yeah, it is actually kind of funny as I think about it now, because mesh shaders are really, really interesting technology, and you also have them in Vulkan, but I'm not aware of any game actually even attempting to use them. Now, it might just be I'm not aware of it. But it's, like, ray tracing. Hey, we got ray tracing. Everybody needs to know we have ray tracing. Yeah, we have ray tracing. But it's like any of these other technologies, maybe it's listed in a press release. Okay. But it is also, I mean, it's like yes, there's SUSAM 4 with its variable rate shading implementation, where I had the 2060 actually managing playable frame rates when using I think it was SSA 2X. So that technically was it was rendering the same number of samples, but then doing additional filtering on top, but rendering the same number of samples as oh wait, no. Crap, I'm trying to remember. Or was it 4X? 4X would have been the full same number of samples as 4K. And it was playable. I mean, it's like, it was massively impressive that the performance on a 2060, thanks to the variable rate shading, and it was one of those, I would say, yeah, it's not even that great, but like visually, it needed more tuning. It had some issues, but performance-wise, it was amazing. So a game that really utilized that well, so it's in there well, you don't notice the reduction in quality at distance. There we go. Because I know I saw there was third running around. It might have run. It would be nice if these were dingo. Oh no, they are dingo. There was something that needed dingo. Dingo pelts. That's leopard. Bear, I'm not... Bear. Deer. Dingo. Trying to remember. I know what I was talking about. I'm just trying to remember what was the thought for where I'd go with talking about that. Nope, not coming to mind. But it is just, like, right now, everything back there is getting the same amount of effort being done to figure out the color for each pixel, even though it's so far in the distance that, because that's how variable rate shading works, that you could reduce it down there. So it's not, less work is being done to draw that, well, to come the pixel color, which makes sense, because at that distance, I'm not going to tell. I'm not going to be able to tell. But there was like a bug to how SUSAM 4's variable rate shading was working. But it was also, it's like sometimes, like here, the trees would start doing that. It's like, no, at this distance, I would actually notice the reduction in quality. But like back there, that tree, I wouldn't know. But there's also doing a degree of foveated rendering, where at the center of the screen, the shading rate is at its maximum. or I should say, it is not reduced. Because you can actually, with variable rate shading, increase the shading rate in some places, which would then improve the quality. Technically, you would also need to increase the number of samples, but that's one thing I very much do remember from doing the anti-aliasing article. With rasterization, sampling is easy. Technically, it's also easy with ray tracing. What's difficult is the shading. That's what actually takes a lot of processing time and effort. So it's a simple thing. You could sample a game at 4K, but only use the higher sample density in specific areas, and that would be it. You just throw out samples elsewhere. I mean, still don't know where I am.
Get a grip. You're just looking.
I mean, you would have the issue of those samples taking up some VRAM. Technically, there is a little bit of processing that would have to be done as well to like figure out if you want to use them or not. But it is the filtering, it's the combining of them, and the shading that costs. So if you just don't do that,
Even for me. This is gonna pay. Fuck!
so if you just don't do that, you get performance. I don't think they ever spotted me such that it would count against me. I think still. Oh nope. Well, yeah, I guess it is true. The one guy did technically detect, but no one was alerted.
You will not give them an inch.
Oh yeah, wait, bear died.
Okay. The train for the.
Because I can skin that bear even though I didn't kill it. I do not know. It's like I was just looking at it, there was something that did need or want, I think just one more bear. If I can find it, that would be awesome.
It was beautiful once. It will be again.
What is that? The shredder? I mean, I think I kind of sort of know. If it's what I think it is, then I want. Okay, nice. I can't afford it. So yeah, those would be... That's my first thing. Cool. But yeah, so it's got silencer, extended magazine, and that's actually an optical sight. Oh no, it does say reef. Whereas... Where that... Definitely. Realize I had one. Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, so it has an additional number of an additional attachment to it, but it's apparently also just not one you can get otherwise. So that's like I remember Far Cry 4, the Buzzsaw is one of my favorites. That's an LMG, but
Good work.
you could get the extended magazine. I don't remember what it had, 2 attachments, but the special version, which was the Buzzsaw, it had a scope on it, and I would actually use that to snipe, which is absurd, but that's what I did.
I hope my...
Let's head over to that.
It's okay.
Yeah, I really don't know where that bear died, and I don't see. All I know is that it was in this general direction. Oh well. Yeah, oh man, I do remember at least one location like this at camp where I went in with the buzzsaw and the bow and arrow. But I would just, like, with the buzzsaw go tink, 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 and just take people out that way. But I was careful enough with it that they never knew where I was. It was awesome. And that would be, because I know I've talked about it in other recordings I've done, where I like games that allow you to become overpowered to the, well, not really overpowered, but so powerful that you can basically walk into any situation and be able to handle it. And that's one of those, I consider that as a reward. Part of the actual balance to the game is to reward you in that way, allowing you to do that. And what I was doing with the buzzsaw would qualify as that way. It's like, this is nuts. Like, there would be some that would say, that's not how you're supposed to play the game. It's like, yeah. Point. It's how I'm choosing to play the game. And the fact that the gun is there and is so powerful, it is all the validity I need for allowing me to play that way. I'm probably dead. Oh wow, I'm not dead yet. Yes! I got my animal skin. Heavy duty munitions pouch. Was that? I don't think it was it. Might have been. That was it. Okay. I know what I'd like to do, I just don't know if I'll... Oh no, I am facing this. Cool. We'll do it. I need a drink of water. I'm getting Super Mario Brother 3, no, Super Mario World flashbacks now, with the cape going like that. This could be a problem. Try to angle away from that. Oh, I was really hoping it wasn't fall. As far as it did.
I think I did the same thing. Anyone who dies quick in this hellhole can count himself lucky. I'm sick of this place. This island and everyone on... Oh my god! Ah!
Okay. Yeah, see, they mostly go around with assault rifle. So I don't want to go to the SMG. I saw that there were another two enemies walking. Technically, I do not want to go up there in a rainstorm like this. One thing I'm finding a little humorous to me is I had the opportunity to be electrocuted today. The reason I'm doing this later in the day for me, which doesn't impact anyone watching this, is I was helping out with some physics demo stuff, which did include some electricity. Yeah. I don't really mind electric shocks, but it's still, some of that stuff is like yeah, this is actually very dangerous. Remember, it's amps that kill, it's the current that kill, not voltage. But it's still, I don't need the experience of thousands of volts. But yeah, it was actually kind of funny because the person giving the presentation did talk about the one-hand rule. And it's like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. Did not explain why. So I don't know if anyone that was attending actually knows why you would only touch things with one hand when dealing with electricity like that. And the reason is you don't want the current to cross your heart. So if you only touch something with one hand, it'll just basically go through your hand. It shouldn't go across your body. Which it has actually happened to me. I did actually, at one point, I was having a hard time pulling out an outlet, pulling out a plug out of an outlet, and was actually crossing the two prongs. And it was interesting, because at one point I'm asking myself, why is my hand, like, why is it tensing up? Why is it, like, pulsing? And then it's like, oh, yeah, don't do that. And I was fine, because it legitimately was only going through my hand. But it's also why, like, in a thunderstorm, if you can't get somewhere that's safe, like, you can get out of the storm, you want to be running. Because when running, you will only have 1 foot on the ground at a time. So if lightning struck the ground, not necessarily you, but struck the ground, the charge will just go up your leg, but it'll go up in one way. So it's like your whole body gets charged. There isn't a differential. But if you have 2 legs down, now there's actually going to be a differential between your legs, which means that there will be a current flowing, which, if it goes across your heart, can very well kill you. It's actually milliamps is all it takes to stop somebody's heart. But yeah, so I don't know if that's actually used in any game. It probably isn't. Because they can't get too real. Yeah, what game would that have been where I talked about there's technically like a contract in ways where, like using Far Cry 3 as the example here, it's like I'm playing a video game, which I do expect some amount of realism to this game. Not all games do expect that. Well, actually no. All games you expect certain things to be consistent with reality and consistent with other games. So just trying to think, what would be a good example in Far Cry 3 of something that's consistent? I guess just the behavior of the weapons. You run, you jump. The hang glider is not actually consistent. That thing seems to have so little drop. I don't think that's right. So that's one of those, you are violating reality, and I have no experience with hang glider. I will admit that. But it just seemed like it stays remarkably level. So you are technically violating reality there, but it's to serve the gameplay. So it's to allow me to have that increased range. So it's like, okay, that's fine. But some games, and it would also be then, like with the lightning thing, we don't do that because, like, yeah, no one really worries about that in real life. Well, some do, but it's rare, so we don't need to put it in there. So it's like, that doesn't violate this contract. It's kind of relates to the suspension of disbelief kind of stuff. That's how this contract relates, is what is and is not acceptable to suspend disbelief for, and also things where it's like, no, we shall not suspend that because we expect it to be realistic. That's what I'm referring to with that contract, is what we say must be real and what we say, yeah, it's okay. I cannot remember. There was one game where I did write in the review about how it basically had that screwed up, where there were certain things was like, no, why is this the way you're showing me? That doesn't make any sense. And now my brain is mildly turned off. But I could definitely see that kind of lightning stuff, that kind of electrical stuff, never being in a game, because it's like, yeah, it's not really a big deal. We don't want you to have to worry about being struck by lightning. But I can also see it being just so many developers probably don't know that. Yeah. I mean, you bring in what you can, but you don't always think to research, okay, well, what do you do if there's a lightning storm and lightning is striking the ground around you? It's like, how many game developers think about that? As opposed to how many game developers may just go in with that knowledge and then like, hey, can we incorporate this? There's probably very few of them. But it's like that for me with some of the writing I do, where it's like, because I have certain knowledge, certain experience from doing the physics stuff like I was doing earlier today, doing that for about a decade and a half now, because it would have been, I started in college about 15 years ago now. I think it's actually more 14. But I've been actively involved with physics stuff there, even though my degree is in math, for the entire time. So there's a lot of stuff I'm aware of that I do incorporate in some of my writing. Like when science fiction books, the actual universe that's set in, like one of the things we were talking about today with the optics, I'm just thinking, yeah, I use that for designing the engine for a spaceship, because that makes sense. Because I can use it there. How many other writers necessarily think about that? Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Would think of the same solution I did. That's what I meant. Plenty of writers would think about, okay, how's the engine functioning? But they might be using some less exotic method, I guess, than what I was talking about. Like an ion drive, which in reality is a bit exotic, although it is actually used on various satellites. But they might go with that or something more nebulous. Like I know it's gonna lengthen this, but Star Trek impulse drive. I actually don't remember ever seeing an explanation of how these things actually. Okay. That actually makes a fair amount of sense for various reasons. So apparently the impulse drive. I don't like this though. I will just say that I understand what they're doing here. I'm good with that. I would not for when I do my ship designs, I would not use this. But apparently the impulse drives in Star Trek, at least for the Federation, it's actually a fusion rocket. So you have fusion reactors on board, which those are actually what provide main power. It's not the warp core that you see, the matter antimatter. That's not used for main power. That's only for the warp drive, because that is so involved. Takes so much power. But it's the plasma exhaust from the fusion reactors that you're driving out of a nozzle to produce the thrust. And that gives you the impulse drive. That does make sense. I would not use that, though. At least, I would only use it rarely, because basically it's a fusion-driven ion drive is what they're talking about here. I wouldn't use that, though, because I don't like when I was actually designing the ships for what I was writing, I wanted something that wouldn't be heavily reliant on a fuel, which this would be. And I also don't like the use of fusion in spacecraft of any sort. So yeah, like in the come on brain, turn over. In the most recent of the 2 sci-fi books I've written, I do describe a space station, and it's like, yes, there is fusion reactors there, but it's actually there's also fission reactors throughout, and fission is what you'd find on starships. You wouldn't find fusion. The reason why is because fusion takes energy to get started. Fission, you don't. It's a natural process. It's spontaneous. Fusion is stimulated. So if the fusion reactors go offline in a starship, like in Star Trek, or what I was talking about with a space station, you have no means of turning those back on if that's all you have for power. That's where fission is nice, because that, it just always works. Technically, you do have the advantage with fusion that you just need hydrogen, which is very common in the universe. So you'd be, hydrogen, deuterium, tritium, isotopes of it. But it is still, finding it is not necessarily that easy. So finding the fuel would be easier than fission, but it's also, you put so much fissile material in there, you know how long that's going to last. So you can schedule things so that you can get more power. No, the actual drive design I opted for was something more optical based, because there's optical pressure. Light does produce a thrust. It does have momentum to it. And I like that because then it's only dependent on the amount of energy you have. So whatever the energy is that you're using, if you are using a fusion reactor, which I wouldn't, fission reactor, which I do describe being used, or just energy storage system, they will all work with that. It would be less momentum than an ion drive, but that reliability factor there is so valuable to me when I was designing this. That's like, yes, I'm going to go with it. But yeah, I did not know that is specifically how they work. Now I'm a little curious. I'm just scrolling down. I'm looking at the memory alpha thing. I'm not seeing anything mentioned, because it's not only the Federation that uses impulse, but it is, I remember that fusion reactors are part of the physical design to the ships. There's actually a board in at least the Star Trek movies. I don't remember if the original series had them in the scene, but it's actually showing the fusion reactors working. That is actually a screen on the bridge. And I think you do also see it then on TNG and perhaps also Voyager. Maybe DS9, but it would be more so in the background because of the design to the Defiant. Just where things would be placed would be different. It's they definitely have fusion reactors on Federation starships, but I don't know about Klingon ships, even though they have impulse. Romulan ship, they have impulse, don't know. And it is also, because they do talk about Klingon ships basically do also use matter-antimatter for their warp drive, but Romulan ships use an artificial quantum singularity, so I could see their technology being very different, so their impulse might be absolutely different as well. And I've just spent way too much time talking about this stuff, haven't I? But I guess, bringing it back a little bit, that whole contract and suspension of disbelief stuff here is you don't just throw it out there and it's like, yeah, let somebody else figure it out. I don't really care. It's like, no, you still want some of that there. You want an author, a screenwriter, a game developer to have enough of an understanding of the technology that they are putting forward that they can at least give a basic explanation. Like with me with the optical drives, the optical engines. It's like light does produce momentum. So you aim them in the right direction and now you can produce a thrust. It's like that's all you really need. You don't need to get into details on that. Similar here. It's the plasma exhaust from fusion reactors being directed to produce a thrust. I mean, it's like, that's all you need. That's all you need and you're good. But there are definitely, not that I can think of any, but I'm pretty sure that there are some science fiction and non-science fiction where it's like, yeah, we just throw it out there and it's like, how does that, you know what? That actually would be it. That would actually be an example. With Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, how suddenly all the technology is diesel. It's like, why? How does any of that make sense for this? Especially when you consider how in Wolfenstein, The New Order, it was more like just fantastical how this stuff worked, how this really neat technology worked. And then Wolfenstein 2, it's like, oh yeah, it's all diesel now. It's like, that feels like a step back. How did we get to here? And there's also the whole, it was a diesel grenade launcher that's like jelly diesel and it would explode. It's like, that's not what diesel does. Like, that's one of the neat things about diesel fuel. It really doesn't like to explode, to burn. But the system by which you burn it, by which it actually does combust in an engine, is you have to compress it and it'll just start and it'll just explode. So it is one of those weird things where it's actually harder to ignite than gasoline. But at the same time, you can actually cause it to combust through just pressure. You don't necessarily need a spark plug. Although I think most diesel engines probably use it, because some diesel engines will also be multi-fuel, so they can take anything, so you need the spark plug. I am, again, just talking on and on. I am sorry about that. So yeah, I'll just stop now. I'm just trying to think if there's anything to mention coming up. Nothing is coming to mind, though. I am hoping that in next few weeks, I will be doing another keyboard build that I think I may do a write-up on because of a modification I want to try doing to it. I don't know yet, and I don't know when any of the parts are shipping either. So that there is that issue. But if that is, like, if I am able to pull that all together, then I may do a write-up for it. But we'll see. But that'll be like weeks away. It's the only thing upcoming I can think of. All right. See you next.